Welcome to Fox TV News, where everything is true.
Watching that? Why am I resist? Why am I resist? Relax.
Talk to me.
Don't laugh.
Just talk to me. Talk. Baba, give them a man. Baba, give them a man.
Sir!
Baba, give them a man.
Get up. Sir! Get up all tight. Sir, get up all tight. Yeah.
Just give them a man.
Sir, ease up. I can't believe it. Really? Okay.
This cannot be professional.
You get so much trouble, man. You get so much trouble. You're a bad slave.
This is what, let me tell you something. This is what Marcus Garvey did, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
This is what Malcolm Luther King did, Martin Luther King. This is what Malcolm X did.
Yeah.
The same thing, try to free on a dirty thinking soul, because they have no sense. As the same used to do it. Them carry them a kitchen and used to hang with some. And then hear them do it now. You see the one them like unwed and put on the mask and anything them tell them do. You see the rebellious one, them not the one them with sense. Them just say, here they go on. You see anytime when you hear them.
Alright, see master, you put on the mask, yeah?
Put on mask, yeah,
Behave the man.
if you know I put it in my pocket, I will carry it.
No man, put on the mask.
Come on. Come put on the mask.
Put on the mask, man. Put on the mask.
No, I don't put that. No, you know, poison me.
No, we're not poison.
I am not putting on no mask that you provide. If you have a mask that you make, you make it? No, you come from here, you're that weird. I know no set up of people. No, but I know you make it, man.
Alright, so you get your wife master now. So you're alright.
This is the last mask I will go up on a human being. Macri they make out of it.
Yeah man,
Make a macri out of it.
yeah man, wear your mask man. Keep safe.
Safe?
Yeah man.
You feel safe in that?
I remember to sanitize when you reach, yeah?
Plastic. You see when I go home later, my friend?
Yeah.
You want to do it? No, I tell you one thing before me. No, you see when I go home later, light the mask and so on. You burn like when you burn.
Alright.
See me what say go on, go on time, go get the mask off right here.
Alright, take your time, go
Burn it
on.
later and swear go on.
Alright, Papa.
Everybody go burn them and burn like all the burn.
Take your time, Papa.
Wait till now.
Hold up on your
And then make it modern and put in the back in it. Look at
Hold on,
that
okay.
human.
Alright, sit down, sir. Sit down.
Have a seat,
Sir,
sir.
sit down.
Why are man in front of me?
Sir,
Have a
sit
seat.
down.
Have a seat. Yeah man, you're alright there, son.
You do not even understand. Look at. How can I sit properly with my hands behind? My hands should be trained to my feet. If you don't understand, put it front of me and train it. So make your attack on and papa off on the neck. You need to learn and have sense. That's all you need to have sense and stop people make mockery out of it.
Keep on your mask, yeah? Remember to sanitize.
I mean, I tell you, like how them treat it like a gun.
Here,
So me can't take it off of my face. I don't need it now. Because it is stifling me.
100 man, what time
Do not put on the next mask on your face.
100 man.
Stifle you.
100 man.
Mommy, I'm talking to you. You must stifle you. Take that mask off of your face. You are my mother.
We don't want you to catch COVID, alright?
You are my mother. Take the mask off of your face.
Put up your mask,
I'm
man.
done in the cage already, so I can't do nothing.
Finish?
Yeah, man, let's try.
Hold on. Just I'll send a video. I'm going to come back earlier. Yes, sir. Take a while.
Sir, I have all it.
just want to go in.
Okay.
Hold on the party, don't move. Some video are taking too long.
All right, guys. Drive good.
Man who scolded cops on Sunday arrested, charged on Monday. The man who was seen in a viral video breaching COVID-19 protocols and berating lawmen in an explosive-laden tirade at Hellshire Beach in St. Catherine over the weekend is now behind bars. 42-year-old Stephen Witter of Stony Hill in St. Andrew was arrested and slapped with charges relative to multiple offences, including breaches of the Disaster Risk Management Act, disorderly conduct, indecent language, obstructing the police, and using abusive and calumnious language on Monday as promised by the police. In a tweet from the Jamaica Constabulary Force (JCF) announcing the charges against Witter, the police advised that he had been fit with a mask and had his temperature checked before being placed in the lock-up. Witter, in his tirade on the weekend, had mocked the wearing of masks. His arrest came after head of the JCF's Corporate Communications Unit (CCU), Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, said on Monday that Witter would be prosecuted for his actions. In a video obtained of the arrest on Monday, Witter, who can be seen resisting efforts by the police to take him into custody. "Uno let me go," Witter screamed as 4 police officers tried to arrest him. "Subdue him," commanded another officer who appeared to be videographing the arrest. It is not yet clear where the arrest took place. Despite Witter's resistance, he was eventually handcuffed and successfully arrested, all while on the wet ground. Several onlookers congregated at the scene, with a woman among the group stating that this can't be professional. Jamaica receives first shipment of COVID vaccines from India. Jamaica has received its first doses of vaccines to fight COVID-19. The 50,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccines, a gift from the government of the Republic of India, arrived via a chartered flight at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston on Monday afternoon. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the arrival of the vaccines was a major step in the fight against coronavirus locally. "This is a start. There is a schedule of delivery. We will start on Wednesday. It's healthcare workers who will get priority, and then we will move from there to vulnerable communities, 60s and over with comorbidities in the first instance, and then to the rest of the population," Tufton said. "We are already in the field. The team is out there," he added. Another 14,400 doses of vaccines procured under the COVAX facility are expected to arrive in the island Thursday. The vaccines come as Jamaica grapples with a surge in COVID-19 cases, the island having recorded 3 consecutive days of record infections up to Sunday. Vendor dead, 31 homeless after murder arson in Kingston. A woman's charred remains were found in the rumble of one of 2 tenements on Beeson Street in downtown Kingston before dawn on Monday. The dead woman has been identified as 37-year-old Latoya White, a vendor who does business at North Parade. It is believed she was stabbed several times and her throat slashed. Her attacker, whose identity has not yet been released, is suspected to have taken her life before torching the building. He then fled. The fire spread quickly and caught the remaining premises, which have been completely destroyed, leaving 31 persons, including 9 children, destitute. District Officer of the York Park Fire Station, Sandy Straw Dawson, said the fire department received a call at 3:45 a.m. and came to the scene to perform cooling down operations. One resident described White as a breadwinner for her children and as being a jovial person who loved to attend dances. White is said to have just celebrated her birthday last Saturday. She left 3 children behind. The police are reportedly searching for the stranded spouse of White for questioning in relation to the murder. Friends and associates mourn loss of popular bus conductor. There has been an outpouring of grief following the death of a popular bus conductor who was mowed down by a motor car on the Costa Drive in Brownstone, St. Anne on Sunday night. The deceased has been identified as 21-year-old Buster Bartley, alias Schoolboy of Racecourse District, Aracabessa in St. Mary. The driver suspected to have been involved in the incident is now in police custody. The identity of the person is being withheld pending further investigations. Police reports are that about 7:20 p.m., Bartley was crossing the roadway when he was hit by a Toyota Camry motor car that was traveling towards St. Anne's Bay. The driver of the motor vehicle fled the scene. However, he was subsequently intercepted along the Longdover Main Road in the parish and arrested. Bartley was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. At the time of his death, Bartley was a bus conductor on the Ocho Rios to Brownstone route. Prior to that, he was a bus conductor on the Port Maria to Ocho Rios route in the northeast section of the island. Friends and associates of Bartley have since taken to social media to mourn his tragic and untimely death. For most part, they have remembered him as a humorous and humble individual. R.I.P. my friend. We always in Bus Park play domino and vibes, laugh and run joke. My condolences goes to the family. Schoolboy, you're not even a schoolboy no more. You're a college boy. R.I.P. I will see you in the afterlife, posted one Facebook user. Shared another. R.I.P. but this seems so unreal. My little doctor friend, schoolboy, one woman shared. Basil is such a humble person. I really feel this sad morning. In expressing condolences to Bartley's family, another woman encouraged persons to turn their life towards the Lord. This is a sad reminder that we need to give our lives to our Lord Jesus Christ because none of us know when it's time, she commented. It's never enough to just be a good person. I pray for his family and friend as they struggle with the loss of this young man, she added. Man gunned down in Havendale. One man is now dead and another injured following a gun attack along Vermont Avenue in Havendale, St. Andrew on Monday. The dead man has been identified as 59-year-old Carlton Brown. Police report that about 11:45 a.m., Brown and the other man were traveling in a Toyota Wish motor car and drove into the apartment complex where Brown resided. Before they could exit the vehicle, they were attacked by a gunman who opened fire, hitting them both. Brown was shot in the head and upper body. Both men were taken to hospital where medical staff declared Brown dead. The other man is being treated for his injuries. As news of Brown's death spread on Monday, residents of several communities along Mannings Hill Road were grief-stricken. Brown is said to have fathered children in the area and was said to be a well-loved individual. Jano, them kill Carl. Him wasn't a selfish man and live good with people. This is a blow to many people who can't understand why a good man like that get gunned down, one resident stated. She dig off me face, woman in stabbing brawl on way to the court. Two women broke into a brawl while heading to court recently, leaving one with a knife wound. Sharon Nugent, the woman charged with the knifing, pleaded guilty to a charge of unlawful wounding before the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court yesterday. After Nugent pleaded guilty, the complainant told the court, I was on my way to court in support of her nephew when she pushed off my face and stabbed me, causing me to fall on my back. So, why would you do that? And she's going to support your nephew in court, asked Judge Laurie and Cole Montague. She and my mother was cursing, and she was in my mom's face, and I told her, don't go up in her face, because I wouldn't go up in her mom's face. Then she dig off my face and everything happened, explained Nugent. Cole Montague then ordered Nugent to compensate the complainant to the tune of $60,000 for her injuries. Nugent is to make the first payment of $20,000 at the next court date. Walk with the lady's money on April 29 and don't come short, said Cole Montague. Adult cousins clash after 7-year-old allegedly steals chain. A 28-year-old man pleaded guilty to hitting a female cousin with a cinder block during a dispute over a chain he claimed her 7-year-old son stole from him. Warren Palmer pleaded guilty in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court to the charges of unlawful wounding and assault at common law. The incident occurred at their Kingston 12 home on the evening of Sunday, February 7. Palmer wasted no time in pleading guilty before Chief Parish Judge and explaining why he hit his cousin. "She came down with a knife," he said. "I was shocked, so I put down the baby and threw the block at her foot." The complainant told the court that she was willing to allow the matter to go unreported until Palmer said he should have killed her. Crooks ordered Palmer to compensate the complainant for her $10,000 medical bill and $70,000 for her injuries. The complainant asked to be compensated as she didn't wish to see her cousin sent to jail. Crooks told Palmer to return to court on April 6 with a first payment of $15,000 or the $70,000 for the complainant. "Mr. Palmer, if you don't come back, I'll have to sentence you behind your back and it's straight to prison," Crooks warned. Researcher wants nutrition labels that lead to healthier food choices. A researcher is calling for nutrition labels that provide consumers with information that can be easily read so they can make healthier food choices. In an interview, winner of the award of Best Students or Presentation at the 2020 staging of the National Health Research Conference, Vonetta Nurse explained that she undertook a study of consumers in Kingston and St. Andrew. This was done to determine the use, understanding, and perception of nutrition labels on sugar-sweetening beverages and related socio-demographic factors among adult consumers, she explained. A mixed method, cross-sectional study of 350 adult consumers between the ages of 18 and 75 purchasing sugar-sweetening beverages at supermarkets was done. Ms. Nurse explained that the study was done against the background of an increase in obesity and non-communicable disease (NCDs) in Jamaica. This is a particular public health concern as NCDs continue to be the leading cause of death and disability in Jamaica. Statistics have shown that 70 to 80% of deaths are caused by NCDs, she added. Ms. Nurse pointed out that the recent Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey 3, 2016 would have shown that there has been a marked increase in obesity in children in the past 10 years. Public health concerns remain, and even in our current environment, obese persons and persons with underlying NCDs are more at risk of serious illness, complications, and even death from COVID-19, she warned. She added that the situation has left the population with numerous vulnerabilities in the face of the pandemic. With this background, obesity and NCDs have been linked to unhealthy eating. In particular, the overconsumption of sugar-sweetening beverages is a leading risk factor to certain NCDs, such as type 2 diabetes and certain cardiovascular diseases, Ms. Nurse noted. She further pointed out that in the Caribbean, generally, there is a high intake of sugar-sweetened beverages and that more than 2/3 of Jamaican teenagers actually consume one or more of these beverages per day. It only takes one beverage per day to put you at a higher risk of being overweight and obese, Ms. Nurse said. The major findings of the study were that 65% of the participants, 144 males and 205 females, whose mean age was 34.44 years, read the nutrition labels when purchasing sugar-sweetening beverages. Females, employed persons, and persons with 3 or more children under 18 were 3 times more likely to read the nutrition labels. Females and persons with tertiary education were twice as likely to be competent in understanding the label. Persons 30 years and younger were 3 times more likely to be competent at understanding the label. Ms. Nurse is a student in the Department of Community Health and Psychiatry in the Faculty of Medicine Science at the University of the West Indies. Calls grow for tax removal as 40% of students without digital devices. Both the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce (JCC) and the Jamaica Teachers Association (JTA) are repeating their call for the government to remove the duties and taxes on electronic devices to ensure more students are able to continue their education online. The repeated call comes as COVID-19 cases continue to surge across the island and reports that up to 40% of public school children are still without electronic devices to access online learning. The JCC is still calling for the removal of duties and taxes on electronic devices. We believe that the cost is very minor relative to the potential benefits, and we understand from data received that these costs are in line with our original projections last year and expect they would be similar for this year, said the JCC's Director and Chair of the Economic Affairs and Taxation Committee, Keith Callisto. Callisto was responding to written questions from a news center. Our position has not changed, added JTA President Jasford Gabriel while speaking on Saturday. In repeating the JC's call, Keith pointed out that with children unable to go to school due to COVID, we think it is more important than ever to implement this measure as the long-term economic and social impact of children not being able to attend physical school will be an enormous multiple of the short-term cost in terms of tax release. Keith said this was particularly so if we lose part of another year of education, as now seems likely. Essentially, removing taxes for at least 2 years would allow every overseas or local Jamaican who wants to buy electronic devices for their family members for education to be on the same level as the numerous charities that have been providing electronic devices helped by their tax-free status, which has helped incentivize these gifts, he added. Whilst we appreciate the efforts of all the various charities, individuals and the government in providing electronic devices and grants to buy these devices for education, it was always an impossibility that their efforts to provide devices would reach everyone. We also expected that there would be problems with face-to-face learning due to COVID, which is another reason why we supported the tax-free initiative, Keith continued. Meanwhile, JTA President Jasford Gabriel has painted a dire picture of an education system that is under severe stress due to the pandemic. By now, the students, especially those who have been without devices, are the ones who are desperately in need, and given the long-term nature of this pandemic and the uncertainties going forward, online schooling is the only option that a number of these students have, said Gabriel, who is also a principal of Manchester High School. Continuing, he said, so yes, we're renewing that call for the removal of taxes and duties on electronic devices. Despite the budgetary constraints, I don't think it's going to require a huge outlay to do that, but it would make a significant difference in terms of the opportunities it would provide right across the country, especially in the rural parts. Gabriel noted that based on the latest JTA survey, up to 40% of public school students are still without an electronic device that would allow them to continue their education online. He acknowledged the broad-based support of individuals, alumni, community groups, the One Device Per Child initiative of the Ministry of Education, private sector entities, and others who have come on board to make tablets and laptops available to those most needy students. But we still have somewhere between 35 and 40% of students who are still without a device. It's a huge number when you consider that there are some 600,000 public school students, said Gabriel. Citing the severity of the problem, the JTA boss noted that even in normal times, we have an education system that is struggling because of the disparities and inequalities across the system. We were not a high-performing system in the first instance, especially in mathematics and science. We were lagging behind in terms of the achievement rate. The JTA president further noted that to bring students back up to speed will require a lot of intervention at the school level, guided by the policies of the Education Ministry. He disclosed that the schools were in the process of putting the data together as it relates to the number of students who have been disenfranchised percentage-wise and how it is that they're going to bridge that gap. He also acknowledged that it was not possible to repeat an entire school year, nor can you repeat an entire cohort. Last October, the JTA president then said that a JTA survey showed that up to 50% of public school students were unable to access online learning because they were without an electronic device. The JCC was among a number of influential private sector groups that made the calls last October for the government to remove access to these critical learning devices more affordable by removing all duties for at least 2 years. The grouping also included the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, the MSME Alliance, the Council of Voluntary and Social Services, and the Business Process Outsourcing sector. Specifically, they want the Common External Tax and General Consumption Tax GCT removed to make the devices more affordable so that no child is left behind. Their call followed one first made by opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson months earlier. According to projections, the government stood to lose in the region of US 5 million or Jamaica 725 million at the time if the duties were removed. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark revealed last month that the government revenue has plummeted 72 billion in 9 months due to COVID-19 pandemic. However, those calling for the removal of duties on electronic devices argued that it will allow for a more level play field as hundreds of thousands of students have been forced into online learning since March last year when schools were closed after Jamaica recorded its first case of COVID-19. In the intervening 12 months, the Ministry of Education has been forced to limit the number of students who are benefiting from face-to-face instructions to those who are preparing to exit examinations as cases of COVID-19 infections and deaths have surged over the past months. The government of Trinidad and Tobago removed all taxes from computer equipment effectively January 1, 2021 in a move to hailed by Jamaicans' private sector grouping as a bold, tangible step to achieve their digital agenda and diversify their economy and specifically to assist with the devices needed for remote schooling. While indicating that there have been positive reports out of TNT on the measure, JCC's Keith acknowledged that it was still early days and indicated that the local private sector group will be seeking to get an update on the success of the move in the Twin Island Republic later this month. In short, we believe that other than buying more COVID-related medical supplies, including vaccines, and financing an immediate country worldwide mass program, this measure would have the biggest possible return on investment due to its long-term impact on the country's children and small businesses, Keith stated. Jamaica's Finance and Public Service Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, will open the 2021-2022 budget debate on Tuesday, March 9 in the House of Representatives. Clark opens budget debate amid anticipation of return to growth. The 2021-22 budget debate will get underway Tuesday at Garden House with Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clark making the opening presentation. In what will be one of the most closely watched budget presentations in years, Clark will tell the nation how the government will finance the $830.8 billion estimates of expenditures that were approved last week by the Standing Finance Committee of the Parliament. The budget has been crafted and will be presented in the midst of a once-in-a-century pandemic brought on by the coronavirus COVID-19 that has crippled the world's economy and thrown tens of thousands of Jamaicans out of work. Clark revealed last month that government revenues were down a staggering $73 billion for the current fiscal year when compared to last year. In a statement to Parliament last month, following the tabling of the estimates, Clark noted that the COVID-19 pandemic had generated both a health crisis and an economic crisis during the current financial year. The pandemic has impaired the health of thousands of Jamaicans, strained the health systems, and led to the reduction of economic activity across Jamaica, including the virtual shutdown of tourism sector for much of the year. This translated into a significant loss of revenue for the government and simultaneously to the need for new expenditure to address the health consequences while cushioning the social and economic impact, said Clark. The finance minister highlighted that the hit to the revenues in financial year 2021 is estimated at an unprecedented decline of 11.3% or 73.3 billion when compared with 2019-2020 inflows. On the bright side, he noted that despite the fallout, overall expenditure is programmed at 3.8% or 24.2 billion higher than the 2019-2020 spend. The new fiscal year will get underway on April 1 and with Jamaica receiving its first 50,000 doses of vaccines on Monday, a gift from India, and hundreds of thousands more doses expected in the coming weeks, the government is pinning its hope on achieving herd immunity and a quick return to growth, which Clark anticipates will begin in the April to June quarter. From the very outset of this economic crisis, we positioned ourselves to absorb the shock and to recover faster and stronger than we had before. We have made public our intention to recover quickly, and this informed the commissioning of the COVID Economic Recovery Task Force, its deliberations and report, Clark told the Parliament last month. Our task this year is to begin the economic recovery. We aimed for economic recovery to begin in the upcoming fiscal year and furthermore to begin this upcoming April to June quarter. Our budget, within the strictures with which we have to operate and to the greatest extent possible, is aligned with this objective, Clark said. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.